JJ Math.
Welcome to the grade 12 chapter on statistics. It's one of the smaller chapters and it is extremely easy. So I would consider this as free marks in any grade 12 paper 2. It's much easier than grade 11 and there's only a few things that you need to know to get your marks. It counts between 7 and 15 marks in a paper, and normally there's a grade 11 stats question and a grade 12 stats question. So this video is only going to look at all the grade 12 stats. So how would you recognize this? So you would immediately see the data they give you is split into two separate rows or two separate columns, normally an X and a Y or any other variables that you compare, but they are linked together. So in the example that I mentioned in the block at the top right is they would give you data, let's say for all the days of December, and then they would connect it with how many ice creams did the person sell each day based on the temperature. Then you know, okay, it's not the normal grade 11 stats where I just get the mean and the average and those things. I can still get that, but this is all about how do the data values connect to each other. Now the formula for grade 12 stats is y equals a plus bx. Okay, so when you press mode and stat, you would choose option 2, which says a plus bx on your calculator. Okay, what does the A stand for? The A represents the value, the y value, when x is 0. So if you think of straight lines, y equals mx plus c, that A value is like the y-intercept. Okay, B represents the gradient, or in terms of stats, it says if x increases by 1, what happens to y? Okay, another concept you will learn is the correlation coefficient. So that's with the letter R. And you can just study this little table on the left because you will get a question that says calculate R and give a comment on the value of R. Then you just need to write down the connecting words with the value that you got. Okay, now why do we use grade 12 stats? So it's used to make predictions based on past data. So if you look at the weather on TV and those things, they make predictions, but they use data sets from the past to make their predictions as accurate as possible. Let's do a few examples, and I will come back to these concepts again so it can make sense. The table below shows the monthly income of 6 different people and the amount that each person spends on monthly repayments of a motor vehicle. Okay, so now you can see the data is connected. So the person that earns 9,000 can spend 2,000 on monthly repayments and so forth. Determine the equation of the least squares regression line of the data. Okay, so we're going to go to the calculator. I'm just going to go back to the steps. On the calculator, you're going to press mode, stat, you're going to choose a plus bx, then type in all the values. So you can first type in all the x's, then go back and type in all the y's. You press equal each time to go to the next block. Once you're done, you press the AC button, then all the data disappears. Then you can press shift and 1, and then on that menu, you're going to choose regression. Okay, so just check each calculator has a different, is it option 4, option 5, but choose regression, and then 1 equals will give you the A value, 2 equals will give you the B value, and then R is option 3. Okay, let's do it with this question. So I typed in all the data, and on my calculator it looks like this, and there I can see the A, B, and R values as well. So then I would just write the formula as y equals minus 1946.875 plus 0.405x. Great, that is 3 marks in a grade 12 exam to get the least squares regression line. If a person earns 14,000 per month, predict the monthly repayment that the person could make towards the motor vehicle. Okay, so I can check 14,000. Does it lie within the data? Yes, it does. I know values smaller than that. I know values bigger than that. So that is then called interpolation. So I can make an accurate prediction because 14,000 is within the data set. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to sub in 14,000 into the value of x and see what it gives me. So when I sub it in, it gave me a value of 3,723 Rand. So to answer the question, predict the monthly repayments. So this person can repay 3,723.13 Rand per month for a vehicle. Determine the correlation coefficient between the monthly income and the monthly repayments of the motor vehicle. And I'm going to add a part to this question that says, and give a comment. So you can see on the list that R is just equal to 0.946. And if I go to that table on the front page of this video, then I can see this is a strong positive correlation. So what this means is that there's a very strong correlation. If X increases, Y increases, and that increase is the same between all the given data sets that they gave me. So the closer this R value gets to 1, then it would be a perfect correlation. But in this case, I just need to write strong positive. And that's grade 12 stats. So this actually came from an actual exam that has been asked in the finals. And you can see how easy it is to get these marks. I don't really need to think, I just need to put it on the calculator in the correct order. Question 2, refer to the table to answer the questions that follow. Okay, they give me values. I can clearly see there's X values and Y values, and I can see which ones go together. So calculate the correlation coefficient of the total data. So to do number 1, calculate the correlation coefficient of the table above. I type it in, you can see what my calculator gave me. So R is just equal to 1. What can you infer from the answer of number 1? This is a perfect positive correlation. And what that means is every X and Y increases at the same amount. So therefore I can draw a straight line that goes through all of the dots. If it is 0.95, it goes through most of the dots, but not all of them. So this is the perfect correlation. Use your calculator to determine the equation of the line of best fit in that form. So you can then just go and follow the steps again to get the A value and the B value, but in this case, it would be Y is equal to minus 13 plus 3x. Give a positive value for X where it might not be Y's decision to predict a value for Y using the line of best fit. Explain your answer. So when you do this question and they ask you, can you predict or can you use this, is it wise? They are asking you about interpolation and extrapolation. So please just look at the definitions. Interpolation is if I use an X value inside the data. So I can see my X values range from 10 to 32. So any value I choose between that would be considered interpolation, which means my answer will be reliable. Any value smaller than 10 or bigger than 32, I can get a Y value for that, but it won't be reliable. That's called extrapolation. So if they ask me, give a positive value for X where it might not be a wise decision, I can say if X is smaller than 10, so X equals 5, would not be wise, or I can give them an answer of X is greater than 32. So let's choose X as 40. So if I sub in those two values, I'm going to get a Y value, but it is not going to be accurate based on this particular data set because it is too far away from the known values that I have. Once again, guys, this was 5 marks in a final exam, and I think this was the a+b exam. It is really easy, this chapter. Let's do one more. Mr. Thompson is retired, and he supplements his pension by mowing lawns for customers who live in his neighborhood. Okay, they give you all the data up there. You can read the story, but normally it's not that important. Use your calculator to determine the equation of the least squares regression line. Give your answers correct to 4 decimals. So once again, just follow the steps, type it in the calculator, get A and B. So please just be accurate and answer the question as they ask it. So in this case, Y equals 28.1412 and then plus 0.0886x. That is to 4 decimal places. Perfect. For that, I will get 3 marks. Calculate the value of R, the correlation coefficient of the data, correct to 4 decimal places. So I can see on my calculator that R was just equal to 0.9135. And that's it. For that, I will get 1 or 2 marks. Question 3. Given that Mr. Thompson charges a flat call-out fee of 150 Rand, as well as 50 Rand per half hour, or part thereof, estimate the charge for mowing a customer's lawn that has an area of 560 square meters. For example, 100 minutes would be taken as 2 hours. So I'm just going to set up a few equations for myself. So the first one, I'm going to figure out how much time does it take to mow a lawn with an area of 560. If I type that in my calculator with that little equation, I can see it takes 77.76 minutes. Okay, now this person charges 50 Rand per half hour or part thereof. So it went more than 30 minutes, more than 60 minutes, but not more than 90 minutes. So therefore, he charges for 3 half hours, okay, between 60 and 90 minutes. And then I can see the cost is just going to be 300 Rand in this case. That was grade 12 stats, guys. It's really the easiest chapter of the year, and I hope you can get your marks when these questions come up. In the next video, we will look at how to plot the regression line if they give you a scatter plot. Doesn't get asked a lot, but there are questions where you need to know how to do that.
If this video helped you, please like and subscribe.
JJ Math.